Welcome everybody to the 2020 NBA Draft here at the Barclays Center up in Eastern New York, soon to kick off very shortly. But let's get some pre-draft stuff out of the way, and I want to take a look at the Charlotte Hornets real quick, as this team was not good at all this past year. Their first one without Kemba Walker since the 2010-11 season when they were known as the Bobcats. They have picks 3 and 25, but expect the Hornets to make some moves, expect some players to be dealt, expect them to not end up with 3 and 25. Who knows, maybe they won't end up with either of those picks. Maybe they'll move down, maybe there's a guy at the top they really want, maybe they move up to 2 or 1. We'll just have to see. So, in my opinion, at the top, this is a 3-player class for 1, 2, and 3. James Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, and Anthony Edwards. And I think you could put those 3 in any order, but I expect them to be the top 3 nonetheless. Obviously, the Hornets have a worse record in the league, and they were expected to get to choose from the 3, but it looks like they're just going to be handed one instead, which they still get one of the 3, which is better than pick 4 or lower than that. So looking at the mock drafts, all of them have LaMelo and Wiseman going 1 and 2. So 2 of them have Charlotte getting Anthony Edwards, and the other one, NBA2K20, has them going with Isaiah Mobley, the big man out of USC. And then looking at the second rounds, Reggie Perry, Kellyon Tilly, and EJ Montgomery are all projected to go to the Hornets at that 56th pick. So certainly some interest as we officially kick this one off. And it'll be the Minnesota Timberwolves on the clock here first, as of course they had the number 1 overall pick, and back in 2015 where they drafted Karl Anthony Towns, that pick ended up being quite successful. So let's see if this one will too. And with the first pick of the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select LaMelo Ball from Chino, California. He last played for the Illawarra Hawks in the National Basketball League in Australia. So Lonzo's younger brother is going to be a Timberwolf, and LaMelo is a very good offensive player. Obviously, he's a phenomenal scorer, a phenomenal playmaker. Maybe he holds onto the ball a little bit too long at times, sort of like a Kobe Bryant type player. But LaMelo here has very nice length at 6'6", maybe even 6'7". Solid defender, solid athlete, so a very nice selection for the Wolves. And with the second pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select James Wiseman, center from Memphis, the top recruit in the 2020 recruiting class. Wiseman is a freak of nature, very good inside, both offensively and defensively. I think all he needs to do is become more of a perimeter-centric player, get a little bit better of a jump shot, and if he can do that, him and Zion will be unstoppable. With the third pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Anthony Edwards, shooting guard from Georgia. So there you go, folks. Edwards will be a Charlotte Hornet. And first things first, I mean, he's 6'5", 225 pounds, and we can make some Raymond Felton jokes if you know what I mean. But Edwards is a very athletic player. He is the modern wing. He can absolutely fly, good in the perimeter, both offensively and defensively. And I see a lot of similarities to RJ Barrett coming out of last year's draft class, just Edwards might have had an extra donut or two compared to RJ. With the fourth pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Precious Achiuwa from Nigeria, and he last played for the Memphis Tigers, so James Wiseman's teammate will be sticking in Memphis. Precious Achiuwa here doesn't have to travel too far, as he will be joining with Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. That team has quite the future. That is a very fun nucleus that they have. With the fifth pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Isaiah Stewart, the big man from Washington, as the Cavs have done a nice job of building their backcourt in recent drafts, getting guys like Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, a nice late first-round pick last year, and Kevin Porter Jr. So now they need to work on the front court. Tristan Thompson is not the future. Kevin Love is not the future. So Isaiah Stewart, sort of like Wiseman, if he can get a more perimeter-centric game, this will be a great pick for Cleveland. With the sixth pick, the New York Knicks select Cole Anthony, point guard, North Carolina. So the Knicks will be getting their franchise point guard. It will not be Frank Ntilikina, nor will it be Dennis Smith Jr. Anthony is a very good scorer, extremely dynamic from all scoring levels when it comes to finishing, driving to the basket, mid-range, and from 3. So New York gets another scorer with the initials C. Anthony on their team. I find that kind of funny. With the 7th pick, the Chicago Bulls select R.J. Hampton from Dallas, Texas. He last played for the New Zealand Breakers in the National Basketball League in Australia, the same league that LaMelo Ball plays in. So, of course, this is the 4th straight year the Bulls have been picking 7. Their last 3 picks have been Lauri Markkanen, Wendell Carter Jr., and Kobe White. So 2 straight years of a point guard. Obviously, Kobe White's a point guard. R.J. Hampton here is too. So I'm curious to see what their plans are with that. And then we have a trade. The Washington Wizards are going to be trading the 8th pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Chris Paul in a 2023 swap best pick. So that'll be either the Clippers or the Thunder selection. And then with the 8th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Scotty Lewis from Florida. So, Scotty Lewis is a very talented 3-and-D player. The Thunder have a lot of point guards, they have a lot of big men, but they need help on the perimeter, so I feel this is a nice pick for them. And then the trade, what the hell are Wizards doing? I mean, they already have maybe the most overpaid player in the NBA in John Wall. So now you're getting the 2nd most overpaid player in the NBA in Chris Paul. 2 old injury-prone point guards. It's not going to work there for them. With the 9th pick, the Phoenix Suns select Denny Avdija from Beit Zera, Israel. He has played for the Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Israeli Premier League. So the Suns need some help at the wing. They're good at guard. They're good with their big men. So I feel this is definitely a pick of need for them, and a pretty solid one at that. With the 10th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Khalil Whitney out of Kentucky. As Whitney is not the biggest guy, but he plays big. Only listed at 6'6", but he can play the 3 and the 4. I like his versatility on both ends of the floor, especially his defensive versatility. So Scotty Lewis and Khalil Whitney, 2 very nice picks for the Thunder, and getting out of that Chris Paul contract while they're at it. With the 11th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Josh Green from Australia. He last played for the Arizona Wildcats. So, obviously, they drafted Zion last year. We know he was probably the best dunker in the 2019 class. Well, here's the best dunker in the 2020 class. Josh Green can absolutely fly. And the Pelicans might just be the entire dunk contest, for crying out loud. You might as well just get their whole roster for that. With the 12th pick, the Sacramento Kings select Nico Mannion, point guard from Italy. He last played for the Arizona Wildcats. So, a questionable pick here for the Kings. Not necessarily the player. I think this is good value for Nico Mannion. Very good finisher. He can drive the basket. Very nice ball handler as well. But the Kings don't need a point guard. They have De'Aaron Fox. So could they be looking to give up on Fox or potentially trade Mannion? With the 13th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Samuel Williamson from Louisville. So the Grizzlies' 2nd lottery pick here of the night, as he will join their new trio of John Morant, Precious Achiuwa, and Jaren Jackson Jr. And I feel like Williams will be more of a developmental guy early on, and I guess maybe long-term Jaren Jackson could be the small ball center, and then Williamson and Achiuwa are the forwards. And then rounding out the lottery with the 14th pick, the Miami Heat select Ayo Dosunmu, point guard from Illinois. Ayo is a very well-rounded player. We know him on this channel, Illinois Dynasty, Hawks MyLeague, so we're very familiar with him here, and I really like him offensively. He's a nice scorer, nice passer, pretty athletic, solid defender, nice length, all-around good pick here for the Heat. And then we have a trade here at pick 15. Norman Powell and pick 56 are added to the Pistons for this selection. So the Charlotte Hornets, as you can see, are going to be back on the clock, and with the 15th pick, the Charlotte Hornets select Isaiah Mobley, power forward from USC. So he will join Anthony Edwards in Charlotte. As the Hornets could use some size, their only big men are PJ Washington, who is 6'8", and Cody Zeller. And there are plenty of rumors that Zeller could be on his way out. So the Hornets need a big man, and this is a steal for them. The one mock draft, remember, had the Hornets picking him at 3. And then we have another trade. The Minnesota Timberwolves will be acquiring this pick. They're going to be trading Robert Covington to the Dallas Mavericks, and I feel this is a fair deal for both sides, honestly. And the Timberwolves are going to select Jeremiah Robinson Earl, power forward from Villanova. He is quite raw, but I like his athletic upside, and I think down the line he could be a nice player for the T-Wolves. And looking at it in the perspective of the Mavericks, I think they're in win-now mode. You got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis continuing to improve. Why not get an established veteran like Covington who can immediately slide at that small forward spot? With the 17th pick, the Orlando Magic select Theo Médaillon from Rouen, France. He last played for ASVEL Basket in the Pro A Jeep Elite League. I like this pick for Orlando. I feel like they need a guy with a high ceiling. Jonathan Isaac and Mo Bamba have not really worked out so far, so I think this is a good pick for them. With the 18th pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Jalen Smith, power forward from Maryland. So the Thunder get 3 new rookies, and they look like one of the biggest winners from tonight's draft. Jalen Smith is a very good player, especially on defense. Very good shot blocker. Only 6'10", but I feel like he will have no problem with getting blocks here in the NBA. With the 19th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers select Jaden McDaniels from Washington. So the Portland Trail Blazers, a borderline contender, have just casually added a lottery talent here in McDaniels. I like his versatility. He can play the 3 and the 4, and he's a very well-rounded offensive player, especially when it comes to scoring the basketball. He has a nice shot from deep. He has a nice finish at the rim. And he's a pretty versatile defender as well. So I think this is a steal for the Blazers. With the 20th pick, we have a trade. The Milwaukee Bucks will be trading for Larry Nance Jr. from the Orlando Magic. And the Magic will be receiving the 20th pick as well as a 2021 Pacers pick. And with the 20th pick, the Magic select Killian Hayes from Lakeland, Florida. He's also from France. He last played for Ratio Farum Ulm in the BBL. So, many scouts have wondered who's the better French point guard, Theo Médaillon or Killian Hayes. Now they're both on the same team with the Magic, so they're going to try to take 2 shots here and hope one works out. With the 21st pick, the Toronto Raptors select Trendon Watford from LSU. And Toronto needs that perimeter presence. Obviously, their championship team had Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. They both left. They took that chip and dipped. And last year, their main perimeter players consisted of Stanley Johnson, OG Anunoby, and Norman Powell before he was traded to Charlotte. So I think this is a good pick for them. With the 22nd pick, the Brooklyn Nets select Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State. This is another one, sort of like the Nico Mannion pick. The player I don't question. Halliburton's very talented, but the Nets have Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie, so point guard's not really a need for them. I would have maybe gone for a big or a wing. So, questionable pick from Brooklyn, in my opinion. With the 23rd pick, the San Antonio Spurs select A.J. Lawson from South Carolina. Another questionable pick. Now, Lawson is a very good shooter. He will provide them floor spacing, but they've used a lot of picks on wings the past few years. Guys like Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson. So, maybe the Spurs are giving up on these guys already for a guy like Lawson. With the 24th pick, the Portland Trail Blazers select Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. So the Blazers are going to get some more depth here at the guard position, joining Anthony Simons on the bench. I would have gone for a big man here. I feel they need depth there more, with Hassan Whiteside being a free agent for them, and guys like Vernon Carey and Charles Bassey still on the board. But Maxey here is a talented player, and I'm sure he'll provide them some good bench minutes early on. With the 25th pick, the Atlanta Hawks select Vernon Carey Jr. from Duke. Big guy, 6'10", 269, giggity, giggity. I think the Hawks could use a center, and he is a very talented back-to-the-basket guy. He just needs to work on more of his perimeter skills. With the 26th pick, the Boston Celtics select Charles Bassey from the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Bassey is a pretty similar player to Carey, and what I mean by that is they're very good inside. Good inside scorers, good inside defenders, but they don't have the versatility and ability to switch to the perimeter defensively, and neither of them have great jump shots. With the 27th pick, the Boston Celtics, right back on the clock, select Tyshawn Alexander from Creighton. I would have gone for a wing here if I was Boston, and Alexander is a wing. I'd say he's more of a 2-guard rather than a point guard, but I don't know how he will fit early on with the team. He's a pretty good scorer and a very well-rounded player, so I don't think it's a bad pick for Boston, but I do think they have bigger needs. With the 28th pick for Brooklyn Nets, select N'Faly Dante from Oregon. Monster inside. He'll be a very nice backup and complement to Jarrett Allen, but my only thing is, since Jarrett Allen can't really shoot, I feel like they should have gone for a big man who's more of a three-point shooter, and N'Faly Dante isn't that. He does everything else well, but I feel like Allen and Dante's skills are too similar. With a 29th pick for the Houston Rockets, select Jordan Nwora from Louisville. And getting perimeter presences are very important for the Rockets. That's what they like to build their team around. 7 seconds or less offense with Mike D'Antoni. And I think Nwora, the Nigeria native, has nice 3-and-D potential. And then with the 30th pick, the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers select Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, baby. As Agbaji will be joining the Lakers. He is a very good athlete, talented 3-and-D player as well. I feel that he is pretty raw, but he has nice potential, and I think he can certainly break out with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis surrounding him. So now on to round 2, as here's a look at the second round so far. Mac McClung, first pick of the second to the Knicks. You also got guys like Javonte Smart to the Timberwolves, Ashton Haggins. You got Devon Dotson to the Kings, so they get another point guard. As Cody Zeller is on his way out, the Hornets will be trading him along with a 2022 second-round pick to the Orlando Magic for pick 46, pick 60, both of which are in this year's draft, and then a 2023 first. And then with the 46th pick, the Hornets are going to take Aaron Wiggins, shooting guard from Maryland. No, he is not related to Andrew Wiggins. He is also not related to Nigel Wiggins. Looking at Aaron, his specialty is going to be from the three-point line. He can let it fly, and he will be competing for minutes along with Jalen Noel this season. I feel that those two are very similar players, and the Hornets are probably going to have one of those two work out as a long-term, I guess, backup on the bench who can shoot threes. And then Mr. Irrelevant, the 60th pick, will be Reggie Perry, power forward from Mississippi State, my apologies, as the Hornets are going to try to get some size here, like they did with their second first-round pick in Isaiah Mobley. I don't know if Perry will get time early on, but I could see the Hornets G-Leaguing him, and I think he has nice potential. So let's take a look at the rest of the second round real quickly. Obviously, we saw Aaron Wiggins go. One of my favorite picks here is Trey Jones to the Spurs. I was highly considering him over Wiggins, but I ended up going with Aaron Wiggins, obviously. And then in the first round, I didn't really question Anthony Edwards. I knew that was the route I wanted to go with. But pick 15, I was deciding for about 20 minutes between Isaiah Mobley and Jaden McDaniels. I really did not know which one I wanted to go with. The only reason why I went with Mobley is because of our lack of talent when it comes to big men. Other than that, Jaden McDaniels would have been an equally good pick. I was literally running through the pros and cons for a good 20 minutes. And I'm happy with the Mobley pick. Jaden McDaniels was also a very good player, but I feel that we have too many guys on the perimeter, and Mobley can play center. So that's really the deciding factor when it came to that selection. And here's once again a look at the second round. Obviously, our Hornets got a pair of picks from the Magic, in which they used to draft Aaron Wiggins and Reggie Perry. And then the pick that was in the Norman Powell trade that went to the Pistons, that ended up being pick 56, and Detroit decided to end up drafting Xavier Sneed, the talented 3-and-D player from Kansas State. So Norman Powell and Xavier Sneed for Isaiah Mobley. I think that's a very good deal for the Hornets. So that'll do it for today's episode. What do you guys think of the NBA draft? Anthony Edwards, Isaiah Mobley, Aaron Wiggins, and Reggie Perry are now Hornets. Next episode will be free agency. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, have a good one. Peace.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Loving plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation.
Yo, hey, man!